Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. I hope that you all are having a wonderful and blessed day going into the weekend. I am Iris Denise Owens, and welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving, Resiliency. And on the line with me this morning, as every Friday morning, is my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning, honey bunny.
Good morning, honey bunny. Stephanie Gianni Green. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be
How-
here. Glad I woke up this morning.
Amen. Amen. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I feel great. I'm a little exhausted. Found something on Netflix last night. Why? 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 Why?
Yeah.
What's it called? Pieces of Her. And you know
Oh,
who's in it? Is Ghost from Power.
I'm gonna watch that because I love him. You know, I love
But
him. Amari
he's
Hardwick.
not. Yep, Amari Hardwick. He's not the biggest star, but he's definitely Tony Collette. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a British actress, but
Mm.
yeah, and it's really it's good. It's really good. But it was nice to see him. It's wholly not even gonna recognize Homeboy, honey.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
he
tell you,
he
you
is
know it's
he.
him.
I
When they
love him. He's
filmed,
a great actor.
I love Amari Hardwick, and not to mention because he had this show on TNT like 15 years ago. I don't even think anybody. I can't remember the name of the show, but no one would probably remember him from that show. I remember him from that show before he just kind of like blew up. But and then he was on Being Mary Jane too.
Yes.
Um, he
Mm-hmm.
was on there, yes. But what was nice about it is this show was filmed in the Isles, which is
Okay.
part of the islands from like Savannah. Well, everything because it was always the Savannah stuff that came there. So they have all those. It's a name for all those islands. I think they're called the Golden Islands or whatever, the Golden
Mm-hmm.
Isles. But he
Yeah, I
grew
think
up in
it's the Golden
Savannah,
Isles.
so I was
Mm-hmm.
always so I was thinking that him being there to film that, how was what that must have been an experience for him to be able
Yes.
to go back home. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know
Nice.
he comes from Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, it was
Nice.
just it's really good. It's a series, Pieces of
Awesome.
Her.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up because I do
But
look
it's
for
either called
things.
Pieces of Her or Pieces of Me.
Okay, I'll check it
Hmm.
out. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to today in honor of, of course it's Women's History Month, and so
Yay.
yes, it's so wonderful to be a woman. Nothing in the world
Yes, it
compares to it.
is. Nothing against, I mean, people get,
Nothing
like who
against being
said,
a man. Because I don't know what it's being a man, but I know what it's like being a woman. And so
exactly,
it
exactly.
is
They
nothing
got
wrong.
mad at what's the name? What's the British singer's name?
Oh,
That she goes out with the sports agent, LeBron's sports agent, and they're best friends. She lost all that weight. She could sing. Oh, what is her name?
oh, you're talking about yeah,
Yeah,
she
I
doesn't go
know.
out with him anymore. They broke up, I think. You're talking about Adele?
Yes, Adele. Well, she just moved
Yeah,
into
they
his
broke
house,
up.
but he wanted. Ooh, I want because
I,
that's why she couldn't focus on the Las Vegas project because he was breaking up with her
yeah,
and
they
everything.
broke
Like
up. Yeah.
it literally broke up. Yeah, she was trying to get pregnant and everything, but I'm like, you gave custody to your son to your husband. Now you want to be weird. But anyway, Adele. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought trying to figure out what her name is. I will come back to it. What was something?
Okay.
It was
Well,
something like with
today we're going to talk about the women who have influenced our lives. In honor of Women's History Month, as women, as children, as young women, as older women, as women going into our third and second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Um, I would, venture to say that we've all had women who have influenced our lives at some point in time, whether it was one time or multiple times or a lifetime. There are just women who have influenced our lives, and I think that's important because as women, it's important to have support, support from other women who have either experienced some of the things you may experience in life, or they have different experiences that opens up your eyes and your mind and your spirit to what your life could be or other options to life. And so I always think that's just wonderful. We were talking earlier about, Steph was talking about a woman who always wore shorts and high heels, and she just loves that look. And so, and this woman, how old were you, Steph, when you met this woman?
11, and she was like 17, 18. Yes.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
she had the
but
legs for
and look at your face lights up talking about her, right?
yeah.
And
She's been on
I
my mind. She's been on my mind lately a lot. I don't know why, but
That's
she has been.
interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. And I remember for me, it was a cousin, um, who her father was a preacher, and her sister, they sang in their father's church, and so they were way older than me. But I always admired them because one, they could sing, right?
Mhm.
And they were always dressed so beautifully. I mean, it was just, they were
Mhm.
always so elegant and so fashionable. And I just would just, I admired them just because, just seeing them, And I think we talked about how, when you're younger, you have those people in your lives, the women in your life who you follow around, like anytime,
Yes,
anything,
yes, yes.
anywhere
Like a
they
puppy
are,
dog.
you're right. Anywhere there are, you're like, oh, I'm going over there. Mommy, please just take me over there. You can't even be in their conversations. You cannot relate to anything they're talking about, but you just want to be with them, right? You just want to be in their presence. And I had a neighbor like that who, she helped me actually, that my mom was there, but she helped do my hair and my makeup for my prom. And I
Mhm.
always remember how I would see her when she would come home from work, and it just looks like she strut down the street, like her toes fit perfectly in her open toe shoes with the strap across the toes, like her feet were beautiful, right? And it's just like, some would say, well, do you have a fetish? No, it is just seeing a woman who is just so classy and put together.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
in it
Yes.
imparts something in you that you aspire to say, maybe I don't want to be that woman, but I learned something from that woman of how
Oh,
I would like to
absolutely.
carry
Yes.
myself, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like
Yes.
that woman, like when she walks into a room, she comes in with an air, and not an air of arrogance. She comes
Right.
in with a presence that,
Exactly.
as
Yes.
we say, she sucks up all the air in the room, but she doesn't do it intentionally, or maliciously. It is just
Mhm.
her being is just that. It's that type of
Yes, her
energy.
being is that strong. Right. Exactly.
Yes, her
Exactly.
sense of
There's
being is
nothing wrong
just
with
that strong. And
that. I had
I
this
think it's great to meet women like that, to know women like that.
and to be for me, like, with these people that like older young ladies that was on my block, it was just, and like two of them one of them I could still put my hand on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lady I was talking about with the shorts, Lynn, she passed a while ago. And literally, she's definitely been on my mind. This other lady, and right now I don't know why her name escapes me, but
Mm-hmm.
we had a family that lived on the block, and her younger sister went to school with me.
Mm-hmm.
But something, when she was born, something had happened to her. And I don't know what it was that she had, but it was something that she had. So she looked different.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then it was the brother. So the older sisters, they didn't live there with them right away because they moved when we were older. Like they didn't come like when we were all in first grade like that. We were like probably like in high up, like maybe sixth grade, going into middle school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I saw these three beautiful women walking down the street.
Mm-hmm.
They looked like they was carved out of chocolate,
Mm.
just with hips and I was like, oh my God.
Right.
And the oldest one was beautiful to me. They all were beautiful, but she was the most beautiful to me. And we became really good friends. Sit on the porch. Every time she comes, sit on the porch with her. And we stayed in touch long because I remember got married, and I knew the guy that she married even before she married him, like just from being
Mm-hmm.
around. And every time she had a baby, I would go and bring her a gift and hang out with her. Because even when the kids, she had two kids, and when the kids got older and they would see me, they would say, "Hi, Stephanie."
Yes.
And I believe, I think it's her sister. Maybe she was Brenda. I can't remember. And I knew they moved and bought a house out like more into central Jersey. So I
Mm-hmm.
never like really seen them. They got moved off the block. But like, and it wasn't like, she came to, but we had a communication, but it made you like know that, I'm still so young, but you could be older, you're gonna just be fly,
Yes.
and it's just nice. And sometimes like with another lady, her boyfriend's uncle, no, her boyfriend's brother, he's like the oldest. He had a younger brother, and it was some in between. But she used to come with him, and she
Mm-hmm.
was, oh my God. And but then I don't know what I know. I don't know what actually happened to her,
Right.
but her and the brother broke up, and she ended up moving in with his older brother's family. And I hadn't seen her like in a while. When I saw her, I was like taken back because at that time I also realized that, because I know when you're young like that, or for me, I would think that nothing could happen to you, you
Yes.
know,
That
because I'm so young.
innocence. Yes. Innocence.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And she got caught up in some, like, she got, now her boyfriend at the time, it was something going on where I could recognize it. Because my father was an alcoholic, and I recognized that look. Never smelled anything, never saw anything, but it was something. And I think that could have been what it was. So, but I never seen her like that. But when they ended up breaking up, and she had to end up moving in with his brother's family, and that's how she ended up living on that block. But she wasn't the same person that I met who used to come visit, on weekends and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And and it was definitely drugs. And I would feel like, wow, you could just get grown and mess your life up. Now I know, because I know people do it all the time. But but you got something from them, you know.
Yes.
And I can see, like, I was one day she came, I was so happy to see her. She's like, "Oh, I was coming home from church." She said, "Go change your clothes because you make me feel uncomfortable because you're all dressed up." That, because sometimes when you can see the blossoming of the relationship, and then you can see the crack
Yes.
of the relationship
Yes.
when it just starts to be something different. You know what I mean? And it's
Well,
interesting.
I think it's interesting because growing up, and I think that's why women have a different type of relational connection.
Hmm.
Which is why I think when we meet a woman who automatically uh, discards us or treats us in a manner in which, or
Hmm.
behaves towards us in a way in which you're thinking to
Hmm.
yourself, what did I do to you? Like, I don't
Mhm,
even know
mhm,
you. um
mhm,
and I think sometimes as women we don't understand the damage that we can do to a person that we don't even
mm,
know,
that's true.
that we don't even know. Like when a young girl comes up to you and she says, "Oh my God, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful, and I love, and you dismiss them, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
I saw something on the show Bigger the other day.
Mm.
I don't know if anyone watches that show, but it's really a good show. It's about a group
I,
of
I never
30,
seen it.
it's about a group of 30-year-olds, basically managing life,
I'm
and
trying to
this
figure it out.
one, the one young lady whose character was depicted in this particular scene, she's a realtor. She's a realtor, and she's building a house, and she's single, and she's doing her thing. She's very
Mhm,
successful at what she does. Well, she went to one of her tenants homes to, I believe it was to collect rent, because I caught it like kind of in the end. And the woman was
mhm,
saying that she didn't she's the mother was saying, "I don't write bad checks," you know and so she was,
mhm,
the young lady who was there to collect, she was, standing there getting impatient, this sort of thing. And so the woman called the bank and she said, "Listen, let me go in the bank. I'm in the back. Let me go get my receipts because I don't write bad checks." So this left her with the little girl that she had been doing her hair. And
mhm,
so she says to the little girl, she sits down and she says, "You're so pretty." And the little girl goes, "No, no." She says, "Your hair is so pretty." And she goes, "No, it's not." And she goes, "Why would you
mhm,
say that?" And so she reaches up to touch the young lady's straight, right? Her bone straight, long hair, which is a wig. And so the little girl doesn't speak. She just touches her hair, like as to say, my hair is not pretty because it doesn't look like your hair. Because this little girl had a head full of hair, but it was wavy and kinky. And, her mom was doing her hair. And so when she said that, when the little girl, well, she didn't say anything, she spoke without words. But the character said, oh, she said, let me tell you a secret. This is not my hair. I thought, oh my God, right? And then she said, I wear wigs. I change them out every day. She says, but your hair is beautiful. She says, and so don't think that you're not beautiful. And then when she got ready to leave, the little girl went up to her and hugged her and was looking into her eyes. And I was like, that is what every child wants, but it's what every woman wants, right? Is as crazy as it sounds, is to be validated by another woman. And I think sometimes we miss that. We dismiss people because, like we'll meet, like now we're considered the older women, right? And so
exactly.
we'll see a younger woman, and we all do it. We'll see a younger woman who is, she has on something, an outfit that's questionable, forgetting though that there was a time in our lives, I know in my life, there were clothes that I wore that somebody probably looked at me too and said, like, did you really mean to wear that? Yes, I did. I absolutely did mean to wear it. But they make a judgment call about who I am because of what I'm wearing. And we do it to women in this day and time too. And I think, being a woman is hard. It is very hard because there's so much judgment, right? From everything we do, from fake nails to fake hair to eyelashes to getting a breast job, getting a tummy tuck, fixing stuff, or I'm a size whatever size and you're a size whatever size, and then I have a problem with your size, you have a problem with my size. Skin color, hair texture, where you come from, who you date, there is a lot, right, to being a woman. And so it's important that we start to take that energy, right, and learn how to be influencers of one another, as opposed to being, I guess, judgment casters of one another. Because, like you said, we both have memories of women who some we know where they are, some we don't. But it's interesting. Like, for instance, I went to my 50th anniversary of the chapter that I was made in with Delta Sigma Theta sorority. So that would have been 7 years ago. I had gone to another event a few years before that, and there was a soror there. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my God. And I kept saying, Miss Washington. But apparently she really was not paying attention to what I was saying. So when I saw her at the 50th, we were having a program, and then there was this point where we were asked to I think speak about someone we knew or da 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 in the chapter. And so I stood up to say that Miss Washington, now Sora Washington, was my third grade teacher. And she said, wait, what? So we're across the room. There's like over 100 of us in this room. And she says, Iris? And I said, yes. And she said, she's like, your mom. I said, yes, she's still the same mom. But it was crazy because literally the first time I saw this woman, the few years before that, I was sitting at this woman's feet, like I could, and like I said, I don't know why she didn't make the connection. Like, I don't know, like she just kept saying, why you keep calling me Miss Washington? And I was like, okay. So I left it alone. But at that next meeting, she then realized that I was her student.
Mm.
And so think about that. She was a founder. She was one of the founding members of the chapter that I was initiated in into Delta Sigma Theta.
Mm.
Come on, y'all. That blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah, I could only begin to imagine.
And so again, it is a prime example of the women who influence our lives. Like, this woman was my
Mm-hmm.
teacher. She imparted into me knowledge. And now to
Mm-hmm.
find out that I belong to the same sorority that this woman, that was amazing
That's
to me.
like a full circle. That's
A whole
phenomenal.
circle, a whole circle, you know.
Yes.
And I,
Mm-hmm.
none of us, neither of us said our mother. So I don't want anybody to go, you didn't say your mother influenced you. Of course, our mothers influenced our lives, but we are focusing also on the women who were not necessarily family, or not
Exactly.
necessarily, because for me, I had said during the month of February when we were celebrating Black History Month, I purposely said to myself, when the month of March comes, I'm going to celebrate the women who don't get celebrated. And that's
Exactly.
us one to another,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so this week, I made a post, and on that post had my mother, my daughter, Stephanie, my sorority sister Lisa, my sorority sister Kim, and my sissy who I sing with in the choir, Kimberly, and then my high school friend Tawana. These are women who have been with me throughout my journey in life. Oh, and I'm sorry, and I didn't say Benita, who's been my friend since fourth grade,
Mm-hmm.
right? So from birth from my mom to meet my first best friend in fourth grade, how she influences my life. We are so completely different, but
Mm-hmm.
we impact one another's lives. My sorority
Exactly.
sisters impact my life. Lisa, I tell her all the time, it's my conscience. Because
Yes.
when I was wilding in the world, when I was wilding, oh my God, Lisa would be like,
If it was me.
right. See? So you see what I mean, Steph? That's how we know that someone has impacted our life. You know how you know? Because the other people in your life who have impacted your life know who that person is. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I agree. I agree. I
Yep.
agree so much. So much. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, because it's like the analogy I give is about the pie. You're like but as you get older, the pie opens up and other people starts to fill in those spaces for
Yes.
you that you
Yes.
need. Because when you first come out of your mom, you're like this,
Yes.
that's all you really need. You need her to eat,
Right. Right.
and you
Exactly.
don't understand the dynamics of where the father comes in yet at that point.
Right.
You the baby doesn't understand that.
Correct.
But it's like it is so important. Just like my neighbor, and I think I talked about this before, by the time they moved across the street from us, it was 3 years later,
Mm-hmm.
my whole world opened up because I didn't feel so alone as I
Yes.
did there. And she was my best friend. She was 35 and I was 9. And she
Yes.
was my best friend basically until she left, and moved back to Mississippi. But it was, I know, and when she passed away, I was devastated.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen her in a long time, but if I needed her, I could pick up the phone and call her. And I miss her. I do think about her, and I
Yes.
miss her because when I was, always, thinking about suicide, she changed that for me,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely like a big period of my life that, I did try to, and then always thought about doing it again. And she really helped me out of all that because I just felt that everything that I was going through as a kid, that no other kid was going through.
Right. Right.
So I couldn't have a conversation with them. And then the adults that were doing the things that was happening to me, of course, you couldn't go to them, you know. So you
Right.
kind of like left, to your own devices. And lucky enough, she came along and really helped really change my world in that aspect. I knew that I wasn't alone. There was someone I could talk to that was never going to go any further than
Right.
what it was, what I shared with her. So it was really, really good because I just lived a lie for so long and it was eating me up inside. And
Mm-hmm.
I could talk to her. I still had to continue to live the lie,
Right.
but I was able to, like, I just didn't have to hold it in. And that was a lot for a kid to carry,
Right. Right.
definitely. But even like my
Right.
mom, like, you said, like, of course, my mom, the one thing about my mom more so than anything was that my mom who raised me and adopted me was that she always had her own business.
Mm-hmm.
And she was always the breadwinner. She made more,
Mm-hmm.
than my godfather.
Right.
And so that was like, wow, you do it on your own terms. And she always did do it on her own
Right.
terms. And to me, that was big, you know what I mean? Really, really big. I don't even think that she understood what that was when
Mm-hmm.
she was doing it. But
Right.
sometimes you just think that that's what you do. Like I always just think that when I was younger, so you get, once you go to school, you get a job, then you find a place to live,
Yes.
and I'm like, that's what you do. And but it's so funny because for me, I really didn't feel like an adult until maybe when I was married, like whatever that felt like. But when
Mm-hmm.
I became a mother,
You're
I
right.
really felt like adult.
Right.
But not realize I was always doing adult things. I had my own place, lived on my own. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I just thought that's just, that's what you do. So I was thinking like, oh, everybody probably have their own business. You know what I mean? Like friends, like my other friend I grew up with, her father had his own practice. So people have different things. So not thinking that that was just so exceptional for a black woman,
Mm-hmm.
from the
Right.
South.
Right.
Back in, what I'm saying? My mother was born in 1922. Here she is. She had her own business from like the late 60s, early 70s.
That's
All
and
she had her business
that's an
until
amazing feat. I mean, that you
exactly,
can't you nothing compares to that. I love that. That's just
and
like I say
she
about
had
I honored
she had that hip
my
hop.
grandmothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what she
Because
had a salon 30 until I was 33. No, until I was 32, 31,
mm-hmm.
32, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Because
Hmm.
I think it's interesting. I mean, if I look at my grandmothers rather, my mother's mother had, there were 10 children that she raised, of
Mm-hmm.
course with her husband, but there were 10 children that she raised, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she ended up with 9 females out of those 10 children. That's a lot. I think that's a lot. That's a
That's funny though. I never realized it because my mother is 12 of them, 9 girls and 3
yo,
boys.
see?
Yeah,
And for my mother,
yeah.
it was 9 girls and 1 boy, and he was the youngest. He was the last baby. And so, and then I look at my father's mother, who my father was an only child. So the dynamics of, the women in my life, especially my aunts on my mother's side of the family,
Mhm.
strong personalities,
Yes.
strong personalities.
Yeah.
There is no issue in understanding women with purpose and women with uh with personality and attitude.
Mhm,
Never
mhm,
ever,
mhm.
never would you be in the midst of any of my aunts, including along with my mother, and not understand the dynamics of womanhood between those women. Like they love each
Mhm.
other, but let somebody step on somebody else's space, toes, territory. I make that, you don't. Hey, you see personalities come out, you
Oh,
know.
yes, she do.
It's like, and then listen, don't talk about my kids, don't talk about what I cook, though that it I'm telling you, womanhood is a thing that it is something, it is so unique, it is so That's why the Bible says we are uniquely made, right?
Exactly.
Because
Exactly. It's so true.
Maya Angelou said, ain't I a woman? I'm telling you, it
Uh-huh.
just, to me, it is just, we have to support one another. It's important because we
We
go
do. We
through
do.
so many things in life. I pray
Mm-hmm.
more good than bad, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when we're going through things in life, especially on the negative side, we withdraw from the world. And then
Mm. Yeah, I'm a good withdrawal.
there has to be a group of people who come looking for you when you withdraw.
It's true. I agree 100%
And
with you.
I
Like what's
think
going
as
on.
women, it's really important that before, when you see someone starting to act differently, right? And because it's human nature. If we see
Mm-hmm.
someone starting to withdraw, they're starting, and we go, you know what? You don't want to be bothered. I don't have to be bothered either. But
Yeah, yeah.
we have to start to think, why is she not wanting to be bothered?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going
Mm-hmm.
on as to why she doesn't want to be bothered? And more than
Mm-hmm.
likely, something is going on. And
Mm-hmm.
because we are women, we want to be strong. It's interesting that women don't, before, when women don't go to battle, and we understand men are the stronger sex. We get that part,
Mm-hmm.
but mentally, women are, I think, and men, don't beat me up, I'm just saying, at times I think women, we tend to be mentally stronger. And I say that because if we're dying, oh my God, we're not going to tell you we're dying. We're going to do everything we need to do. We're going to continue doing it. We'll tell you on the last day, on the last breath, baby, by the way, I'm dying. So I want
Wait,
you to
like
be.
how much sorry.
I'm
That
sorry.
is true. That's
Yeah.
when you guys have a story about that. This but it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's so true.
I mean, and it sounds crazy, but think about a woman who finds out that she has cancer. A lot of times
Yeah.
she doesn't say anything to anybody.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what's the question we always say? Why do you say something? I don't want
Mhm.
anybody to worry. I don't want anybody to have pity for me. I don't want anybody. And that's the thing. It's not pity. It is being able to learn that we need help. You need
But
somebody
you know
to
what's
be there for you.
no, I agree with you 100%. But what I do know, like when I had to wait for my biopsy, with my breast, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't because only reason I didn't, first of all, I didn't know, but from the time they saw the lumps and then had to schedule the biopsy and get to that
Mm-hmm.
point and then wait, for the diagnosis, every ounce of me, because I never forget my doctor said, I never seen that before. Like he said, when he told me, he said, everything in my body and my face just shifted. And I went into this survival mode. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to take everything I had inside of me. So sometimes it's that way. But I think that once you, whatever the diagnosis is, once you settle into it, then you are able. And then sometimes maybe you're not. If you got to go through
Mm-hmm.
all the treatments and everything I go through, you only have that energy to just give everything because when you're especially when you're sick, you're always pouring out your energy to other people.
Yes.
But when you're in a situation like that, you need every ounce of all of your energy,
Right.
and so it's hard, to give energy to other people at that point. So sometimes that is the reason, why that is. But the other thing I was going to say to your response to us, not telling people when we're sick.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story that I heard, years ago, and a husband, he wanted to get a divorce, and his wife said, "All right, I'll give you a divorce, but basically not right now." I mean, they had a child and everything of that nature. So she said, "I just want our child to see us in this loving relationship." And so he was like, "Okay," you know. And she would say, "Well, pick me up," and then he would always be picking her up and taking whatever. He was like, "Oh, you get it lighter and lighter." But what it was is that she was dying.
Mm.
She didn't want to
Losing
tell him.
weight.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But so, instead of saying that, you know, because I think part of her is like, I don't want you to stay for me. I want you to stay for my son. Because no one, well, I do know quite a few relations that they keep them there for the pity. They have them there for the pity, which is sad too. But yeah, like I'm leaving, then I can leave them now, but they want to go. So that if that energy is just as bad,
Right.
or they start having a relationship with the nurse that you end up having, which I know that, like, you end up being a nurse, long-term illness, then he's going to be sleeping with the nurse because he was trying to get out before this happened. And then some people will hold you there, also. So it's like, but we're definitely like that because God prepared us to be single women just for the fact that he knew men would go to war and some of them will not return, or some of them will return different than when they went.
Mm.
So that's why we're able to do those things. I mean, granted, men do it too, but I don't think some men do it as well as women, but for the most part, maybe not so much. You'll find a man, even the nicest man. I have a friend, well, he's my brother-in-law's best friend. His wife died in childbirth. When the baby was like a year old, he remarried, so quickly because he has his newborn, and all these kind of things going on. So to do that on your own, and quickly learn that wasn't good either. But we as women, that's what we do. And we teach our daughters learn by watching us because words don't
Yes.
teach, only life experiences. So they
Right.
watch you and watch
Right.
how they are. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because when you have that part of you that's not the best of you, and they get all parts of you. And then when you keep seeing that part of you that's not the best of you in your child, that's where that resistance comes in between you and your child.
Right.
But it's she got it from you because she got it from watching you, you know.
Right.
And it's really quite interesting. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say about Adele. When she won the British Award, it's like similar, I think, to our Grammys. And she said she loves being a woman. And like the LGBTQ community, they came after her for that. And I was thinking, well, what's wrong with saying I love being a woman? What's wrong with that? Because when you
I
say I love being a woman too, and there's nothing wrong with being a woman. I wouldn't want to be anything else. And I love being a black woman. But when you talk about uplifting people, I was in Target maybe about 2 or 3 days ago, and for some reason I was looking for some Sheen or something, but it was something that was newly advertised, and I wanted to see maybe I would check that out because my hair is dry. And this young girl was there, and she was like, "Are you looking for something in particular?" And I said, "I am, but I can't remember the name of it." And I was like, "You don't work here, do you? You look kind of young." She was like, "No, no, whatever." And so I said, "Oh." And so then her mother was standing there, and then she had talking. The mother's like, "Oh, she doesn't mean to disturb you." I said, "Oh no, she wasn't disturbing me." But we have been into this whole conversation. Really, the girl is Spanish, and her hair is curly, but it frizzes a lot. And so she's like, really, she just wanted to ask you, like, what makes your hair, like, how do you keep your hair from not frizzing your hair so pretty? And we had this whole conversation with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, like, it doesn't really work in the morning. I got to go to school. And the mom's like, I'm already going. Me and her father go before she leaves. And she said, when she first gets it done, it's nice, but what can you do to maintain it? And
Right.
so, and she was really so appreciative. I think she was like 12 or 13, but she was like, I just love your hair. And that's what I would ask you. I said, no problem. I couldn't
And
remember what it
again,
was.
prime example of what we started about, being able to be approachable enough to be able to help a younger person with a simple question or a simple need, because that was innocent and simple, right? But because sometimes we come off in a way that it's like, I don't have time to be bothered with you. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, how we can bless one another's lives in just a
Mm,
moment, just a conversation, a smile, a compliment,
mm,
anything to say to someone, hey, you matter, I see you, right? And I think the women in our lives, I know for me, there have been so many, like my sister circle, right? Each of those women have done something or bring something different to
mm,
my life, right? And what I like about it is that it's authentic. It's not, there's no, if I'm messing it up, trust me,
They gotta
Mercedes
let you
Miller,
know.
Mercedes Miller is going to snatch me like I have hair and let me know, you listen, this must
Yeah,
stop.
this is unacceptable. This is
This
not
is
this gonna.
unacceptable behavior and it must stop, and it must stop now, immediately, right? Now, in the midst of her saying that, I never have to worry that she's gonna leave me, or she's never gonna be my friend anymore, or she's just gonna say what it is. She's gonna tell me the truth, and then she's gonna like, okay, so I love you, and we're gonna keep it moving. But you need to work
Exactly.
on that. You need to fix that.
Exactly.
Period.
Uh-huh.
Point blank. The end.
Exactly.
Um, you know, Brenda Carroll Wilson taught me, listen, as a single woman raising a child, Brenda taught me about how to survive, because she says she always bought and had expensive jewelry. And the reason for that was that if ever she needed to have money,
That's right.
she
That's
could
right.
go and take that piece of expensive jewelry,
Right.
on
That's
it,
right.
get
That's
some
right.
money to handle what she needed to handle, and then go back and get it. Now, some would say that don't make no sense. Baby, that makes all the sense in the world to me.
Makes all the sense in the world. It's like
It
when
makes
you
all the
buy, it's
sense in the
like,
world,
yep, you have to like, yes, exactly, absolutely. When you
right?
buy things like that, you buy them because
They
they
have
hold their
value,
value. They
right?
hold the value,
Right.
and then you can always
Not just
on it.
buying stuff because it's
Exactly,
cute and everybody
exactly,
else is buying it.
exactly.
What's the value?
Or because it's
Does it
trendy.
build
Exactly.
generational wealth? Right. And I think that's
Exactly.
wonderful. Sheila Richardson, she is the queen, right? She is the queen. I want all of them to come on here because I want them to tell their own stories. But Sheila
No,
Richardson is the queen because this sister, I look up to her because she's like the big sister of our sister circle, and she is just an amazing, amazing woman. She just imparts knowledge into us, and she don't even know sometimes that she's doing it. But just her being, just who she is, how she's lived her life, she has taught us so much. She's taught me so much, and so thankful for her. And then Christy, our younger but older, with the older spirit, a force to be reckoned with, right? And so
wow.
I'm just saying, when in our lives, even you, Steph was the first woman that I met who was an entrepreneur. And I was thinking, man, she does really well for her life. It's like, I didn't even really know what an entrepreneur was, right? I just knew that this sister, every time she showed up in full gear. Anytime I saw Steph, like me, you never gonna see her with her hair not done. You never not gonna see her with a smile on her face. You never gonna see her not dressed, right? Like, that's just not who we are, right?
Exactly.
And so we
Exactly.
met each other. It was like an instant relationship with one another, right? And to this day, right? But in that instant relationship over these years, we have supported each other through thick and thin, right? There have been moments that she either telling me, I need you not to do that, right? Or I'm saying to her, hello, what is really going on? Because no, that's I'm not buying that
Out
story,
of one of
right?
those experiences, that's how this was born. Out of one of
This
those
is how
experiences,
this was
right?
born. And so it's so important to have people in your life who know you, and they take the time to know you. Like, they know you. They don't just, like, people say, oh, that's my friend. No, 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 no. They know you. Like, when I hear
Exactly.
your voice on the phone, I
Mm-hmm.
say, what's wrong?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Or you get that phone call in the middle of the day. You all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hadn't called you and said nothing, right? You hadn't called me and said anything, but spiritually, something says,
Yep.
pick up the phone, reach out, find out if she okay. Just whatever that is, that like I said, that's a spiritual connection. And that's what women need. We need people in our
Thank you. I
lives.
received that from you.
You know,
Thank you.
we
I
need
received.
people in our lives who says something in their heart, something in their spirit says, call her now. Right. And something in her spirit knows that it's okay to check one another. And it's not, and I'm telling y'all, you know, sometimes in friendships, people say, that's none of my business. I'm not getting into that. And trust me, I have friendships like that where I said something to someone who they could not receive it at that time. They didn't like it. They didn't like it. And they were like, you know what? I don't need this. I'm done.
Exactly.
And I gracefully said, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But that's where that saying comes from, kill the messenger. That's what that saying comes from.
But you know what the beauty of really being friends are? Is that person and I are back together. We are friends with one another, and we can accept now. We both can accept whatever it is I said that you didn't like before. It's okay. Whatever you said that I didn't like before, it's okay. Because what we do know is that we love each other and we want the best for one another. And when you know that there are people standing behind you and in front of you and helping you get to where you need to go in life, that's what makes all the difference in the world. That's what being, you know, I know in social media now, everybody is an influencer. I want the influencer of people in my life who really do impact my life in a way that I would not be or could not be where I am or who I am without those people. That to me is what's more important than anything that anyone could ever give to me. Another woman who looks at me and says, you love me in spite of my mess.
Exactly. Yep. All my shortcomings. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You love me even when I'm doing
what
crazy stuff. You love me even then. So even if I'm on the ground in a place I don't belong, you don't come there. Now you're not gonna get on the ground with me.
No.
But you're gonna come over there and go, you all right down there? How long you gonna
be down here for? Yeah, because you gotta meet me up here.
Right. Because I'm gonna stay right here. And when you done, I'm gonna be right here. And so when you're ready, come on up. That's what women are to do for one another. Right?
Yeah.
Not get to the point where we go, you know what? You are really crazy. You out of your mind. You doing this, you doing too much. So now I leave you.
Yeah.
Because guess what? There is a point in all of our lives that someone thought we were doing too much. And I'm gonna start with, this is where our mothers come in. Because I'm gonna tell you, I know my mother would be like, my mother once told me, I want you to get friends because I cannot hear anymore of what you're doing. She's like, I need you to get more friends. So you got to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I know you would like talking about earlier about, just, walking and stride, walking, not being in pride, not that you're humble, but you walk with your head held high. And I was saying, like, one thing that really didn't really bother me and still doesn't really bother me a lot is like, what people like think of me in that sense. And it's just that, and it had a lot to do with my sister Geraldine, my mother's oldest child, and she was born clubfoot. And she was born with seven fingers together, but between both hands, she only has 7 fingers.
Okay.
And I never, and she took care of all of us, but I never seen my sister walk with her head down. She's always walked very proud, and she's just her, she, I look at her and I've always admired her, like, it's like, how do you go? Everybody always like, look at her hands, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
look at the way she walks a little, off
Mm-hmm.
balance. And she is the smartest, most, brightest, sweetest person I know.
Yes.
She'll let you know what time it is because she is an Aries and she's a true Aries, and she's
She
not the
gonna
one.
get you straight.
Don't even
She
go.
gonna get you
Yeah,
straight.
yeah, don't even try. Exactly. She will, beat the crap out of you, tell you off. You know what I mean? She's not the one.
Yes.
And to be that person and to, go through life, just like I remember when my kids were little, and she lives in the Bronx still, and she met us in Manhattan. And they were young, so she was trying to get Sadion's hand, and he saw her hands and started screaming and running from her.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not say a word. She didn't say anything. I'm like, I'm used to it. And she said, y'all did the same thing when y'all were little. I said, we did. She said, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, what I mean? That takes a person to be able to handle that. That's a special
Absolutely.
person. And then she
Absolutely.
went on to have two babies, and neither one of my nephews never had those issues. This one something that was very a freaky thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at my biological mother. I said, how for her strength, like your firstborn baby came to you
Yes.
like that. What strength did you have in yourself that I would do this, seven more times,
Yes.
you know,
Absolutely.
and not have something like that happen, to my child again, to another one of my children. And she just like all her surgeries. My sister has had, and now on top of all that, she has lupus. But my sister has had at least 40 surgeries,
Wow.
you know, because they had to turn her feet around. And then
Mm-hmm.
now she has, now those were like 38, 39 surgeries just for that.
Wow.
And then now she keeps having surgery because she has the type of lupus that grows growths on her organs.
Oh wow.
So they have to remove those and stuff like that. So, she's just, I look at her and I bow down. I always say, and I don't even think I really said this, so I said, but I wear my high heels for my sister because, she could never
I
be able to
love
wear them.
that.
She has
We should have your
shoes. And
sister on.
yeah, she would love to be on. She would
We
like,
should
you go,
have her on because
you
listen,
said we're gonna be,
you talk about resiliency, resiliency, right?
oh yes,
Because that's
resiliency
what
with
I'm
the
saying.
capital R.
The women in our
Yes.
lives teach us, right, that no matter what happens, right, you got to get up
Mhm.
every day.
That's right.
Whatever
You gotta put
God
it on.
dealt you, whatever hand life deals you, God gives you got to get up every day. You got to get up.
Exactly. And not to mention you have to get up every day and know that, like, and I say this all the time, and I truly, truly believe this. It's like I woke up this morning, everything works, it's already a great day. Because
Absolutely.
some people didn't wake up at
Absolutely.
all, and some people
Absolutely.
did not wake up the way they went to bed.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So it's like it gives you another day just to be better.
Yes.
It gives you
Yes.
another day just to be better. And whatever bothered you yesterday, if you don't start, if you don't regurgitate it the next day, it was left in yesterday,
That
and
is correct.
yesterday died last night,
That is
right?
correct.
So, but we like to regurgitate these things over and over again
Right.
and keep keeping them alive.
Yep. We
And you
keep
gotta let them
feeding it.
die.
Yeah. We keep feeding
Exactly.
it.
You gotta let them
Yep.
die so you could really grow. You know, I mean, you could use your life experiences as teaching moments, but you cannot live in those moments,
Yeah.
and
That's
you
true.
can't let people continue. People like, oh, I remember when I used to this, that was me then, and this is me now.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not the
So
woman
what you're
I'm
not
not
going
even
to
the
do
woman I was yesterday.
yesterday. Exactly. So what you're not going to do is keep regurgitating
Right.
my past to me, which you really can't really regurgitate because you don't know. You just what you think
Right.
whatever it may be.
Correct.
So, and that takes a lot. Going back to my sister, and with all those things that she have going on, she will get rid of a husband. She's not the one either. Oh, let me. Oh, no, oh, baby, you gotta go. She don't play that. Okay. She don't
Hi,
play that.
sister.
Yeah, she went on to be a special ed teacher,
I
you
love
know,
it.
my, she's an educator,
We are
and we're all,
definitely okay. So that is your assignment. You need
yeah,
to
yeah,
get your
yeah.
sister scheduled. That's your assignment,
Uh-huh.
especially that we are celebrating.
Well, no, no, my sister retired, she retired like a while ago. So she
Oh,
retired,
well,
so
look.
she,
So that means she's free.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
So yeah, so she
You
is
see
just,
what I mean? Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I was with my cousin the other day, and she was like, "I can't believe how much you and Gerald look alike." Her name is Geraldine, and we call her
Okay.
Gerald. So, oh my God, like y'all like the twins. We look well, you'll be able to tell we look a lot alike,
Oh,
you know.
that's your
Yeah,
assignment.
yeah,
That's your assignment, sister.
yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, she would love that because she watches and she listens and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
listen.
oh,
So,
we're
Geraldine, you have
very,
a
very. I
personal
don't think I shared
invitation.
that. Yeah, I don't
Hmm?
think I shared that with you about her because you hear me talk about her all the time.
Yeah, you did not share that.
I never said,
No.
yeah. And then, and then my other sister would say, because we were doing something, and when we showed up, and everybody like, when they like looked at her hands, and some people just don't know. So I was like, and I said, "Oh, you have to tell people." I'm like, well, I don't think about it like that. So I never like, oh, let me go tell. You know what I mean?
No,
So like
why should you
one
have to tell people anything?
exactly,
No,
and that's
ma'am.
why I told her, I said,
Are
well,
you so do am I supposed to come in before I bring her somewhere? I'm supposed to set it up for you? No.
Mhm. No, I told her, I said, you don't do that. Like that was, she was special. She was very special. She made it through. And what my mother did, which was they told me, oh, she's never gonna write. And
Wow.
my mother used to write with her all the time, so she could write,
I
and she
love
writes,
it.
what I mean? And yeah, and like so my mom, she was really, really brave and and raising and taking care of my sister, making sure my mother was 17 when she had her. So you can
And
imagine
and
being
and the thing is that as you said, your mom continued to have children even
exactly.
after that. I met a woman, I guess it was the week before after I came back from Dubai. And she has a daughter, and her daughter is special needs. And but her daughter came to me, and the sweetest child, she came and gave me beads, and she was talking to me and everything. And I think she has a trait. So she was talking to me, but we were communicating. And I was like, oh my God,
Mhm.
you just melted my heart. And then her mom says, this is Rosie, and this is Daisy, and she was pregnant with a new baby. And you have to say when that happens, right? But who are we to say that? Obviously, that's your faith in God, right? That's
Exactly.
faith. that
Exactly.
is that is faith all the way. It is nothing else. It is faith. And
Hmm. Hmm.
that to me is so that's just amazing. There's nothing compares to, like I said, faith, and then the faith of a woman. Because the
Hmm.
faith of
Hmm.
a woman will pray, she will pray the walls down, right? She'll believe God, and those things will move, those mountains will move, those doors will open. Where there was no door, God will put a window, right?
Hello.
So I just
So true.
believe,
So true.
God is faithful to a woman who is faithful to him. And so,
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
it's
That's
just,
so true.
that's why I said we need one another, right? Even when you
Mhm.
don't, it's interesting because, a lot of times people get uncomfortable when you talk about God.
Mhm.
People will stop being friends with you because you talk about God so much, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that is, for me, not a judgment, because we all have to find our way to God.
Mhm.
God's
Mhm.
always there, but we all have to find our way to him,
Yeah.
right? And we all have to
Develop our personal relationship with him.
exactly. And there are people who have been in church for years, right? And then you see them come up and say, I'm giving my life to Christ. And you would assume, hey, you're 80 years old, you're 65, you're 70, that doesn't mean anything, because
Mhm.
some of us were never blessed with the opportunity to even have God introduced to us.
which is true.
right? And that's the
Mhm.
thing. We don't know other people's stories. We don't know her story. We don't know her history, right?
Mhm.
So when you see another woman, before we get all on our soapboxes and get so caught up in, oh my God, she's uncouth. Oh my God, she speaks really bad. Oh my God, just remember how you came to God,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And how
Mhm.
you still
Mhm.
coming to God.
Oh, what?
How
What?
you
I had
still
the
coming to
gospel
God.
going over here this
I want
morning.
I want you to remember
Absolutely.
that part. How you still
I
coming
know
to God.
that's right.
Because I
That's
know
right. I
every
know.
day I tell God, thank you for grace and mercy.
Mhm.
You hear
That's
me?
right.
Thank you
Mhm.
for keeping me when I didn't have enough sense to keep my own self,
That's so.
right? So it's important for, for our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties, our sisters, our teachers, our even our enemies, right? Even the
Mhm.
women
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
who never liked us or who treated us in ways that we could never figure out, why do you act that way
And you love
towards
them
me?
anyway, right?
Right.
And you
But
love
you
them
love them
anyway.
anyway. And
Mhm.
if you ever get the opportunity later on in life, you normally will realize that that woman was insecure about herself, and that you just made her feel more insecure, not because of anything you did, but because of your being, because of your presence,
Mhm.
and it takes a long time to understand that. And for some of us, we will refuse that. But when you dislike a person for no apparent reason,
Because they
there is,
exist. That's crazy.
yeah, that's something in you, babe. That's not the person. That's something in you. Now,
Well, it's
discernment
the
is
spirit.
different,
It's the spirit,
right?
though. Our
Because
spirits don't.
right, our spirit. Now, if you just don't like a person, but you feel something about that person that you think is not good, that's different. I'm talking about when you just look at a person and go, I don't like her. I just don't like her. I don't want to hear her talk. I don't want to hear her laugh. I don't want to see her. That's different.
But
Yeah.
that is definitely your spirit talking. I tell you about
Yes.
the one I when I was working at Fred the Furriers, and the girl I ran into, well, she started working the same day as me.
Yes.
And I got there early. I'm sitting in my car, and she walks by my car and goes in. And I'm like, I don't like her. Like something about me. I never even spoke to this woman.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I was like 19, and so I think she was like 27
Mm.
or something like that. Long story short, we became, of course, that day we went out to lunch, and we were like the only couple other black people. Then we were the young, she was like 8 years older than me. But
Mm-hmm.
we went to lunch, and then like we really became friends. And what she did, I never forget, she used to work for, I think, Lancome. And she was like, "Oh, you should try this makeup." I said, "Well, I really don't wear makeup." She said, "Oh, we should try this makeup." And she said, "Because this would be make your skin nicer," or something like that. I never forget, I used that makeup, and it broke me out so bad. And yeah, listen. So, but I do like think that she did that on purpose. But anyway,
Oh my gosh.
eventually, I was engaged at the time. She started sleeping with my fiance. Um, what She got pregnant by him. Like, don't like. So I saw the spirit. That's what I saw. I never even had contact with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
But when she wanted everything I had, and she
Mm.
sure enough took it, and you can have it too. You know what I'm saying? But yes. So sometimes for me now, when it's something, and it may not be to that magnitude.
Yes.
Prime example, one of your friends when we first met, and we were like, when you decided to move back to Atlanta. I don't know
Yes.
if you remember this. I came to your house. I was
Yes.
there. She was there.
Yep.
And you was like, now you guys can connect. And we looked at each other like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Right. I remember.
Yeah.
Like, no, no, that's not gonna happen.
And so, yeah, and you just like, oh, okay. But, I mean, we're not that, what I mean? But it's that kind of spirits, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, you feel them. Like, if you know who you are, they're real.
Yes,
As much as
absolutely.
it's like, I could love you, but I gotta love you from a distance for sure. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because this
Right.
girl, even after she ended up losing a baby, he dumped her. Then she wanted to be my friend again. I'm like, you have lost your mind. I basically broke into my mother's house trying to get to me because I was ignoring all her phone calls and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, because one day she literally shows up at my mother's house, and I went to open the door, and I don't know why the back door must have been open. She started coming to the door, and I tried to push out. She put her foot in the door. Oh, it was crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it wasn't even really about him. It was more about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So yeah, so like yeah, so some of that those you it's not like the hatred's like yeah, I need to your spirit tell you you need to be across the room and let them
Yeah.
be across the room. Yeah, you know,
Yeah. And
because
sometimes
each and
and
every
sometimes
time
it's
I have
okay.
something true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. I
It's
mean, I don't
okay.
have to like
Because we're not
feel
gonna
like
like everybody we meet, and everyone who
no,
we
and
meet is
everybody
not gonna like
like us,
us.
and
And that's
that's
fine.
okay. That is
Right.
okay. Yep, yep. So that's
But for
okay.
those that
So
we
when you
do,
love,
but for those that we
yeah.
do, and they influence our
Hmm.
lives, and we influence their lives
Hmm.
too. Always think about the lives
Yeah,
that you
absolutely.
influence. You know,
Absolutely. Because I
that's
know like
really
my
important.
cousin, she's my voice of reason. My cousin Cheryl, boy, oh my God. And she's like 8 years old. And she thinks she's my mama though. And between her and her husband, because he's like 13 years older than her. So when he came, they started dating when I was like 14.
Oh
And
wow.
those like my surrogate parents. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even when I lived by myself, I would always go on my way home. I would go to their house and have my dinner, and then I would go home.
Yes.
And I said, when y'all gonna have a baby? When y'all gonna have a baby? And so when I turned 26, they had a baby.
Oh wow.
So they've been together. Yeah, yeah. So they finally had their baby, and my niece, Ari. And I look at our relationship now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Me and Ari, now she's 31,
Yes.
and yeah, we're very close. We have it's like a full circle,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I mean, me and her mother are friends. Her and I are friends. She still respects me as my aunt, as her aunt,
Mm-hmm.
but because we call her older cousins aunt. But she was a flower girl. I don't even remember. She was a flower girl in my wedding when I got
Mm-hmm.
married. She was at my wedding, and she was like 6 years old then.
Yes.
And it's just like it is just funny how that comes like full circle.
Yeah.
Really full circle. So and then Ari and then my cousin ended up having another baby when she was 40, and she had Alexis, and then Alexis and Savannah, they're best friends. Although
Nice.
they're three, she's 3 years older than Savannah. And then but then one day I called Savannah, three of them were over her house and stuff like that. So it's really, really nice. It's a nice experience. And I told her all the time, I said, it's like we have this nice friendship. And it's nice even with me and my cousin, with her kids, my kids, like we could always get a conversation in,
Yes.
like through the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when my niece was younger, I could talk to her. Like just different because I'm a little bit younger than her mom. And same thing. Like she could talk to my daughter because her and Savannah are exactly 10 years apart. So it's a nice dynamic. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
is. And I
I
appreciate
think.
your friendship too. Because
Mhm.
like you told you like you like you could hear it in my voice. I said I appreciate your friendship and our sisterhood. Because when I was going through, I couldn't even see what I knew you was putting me on to the game. This is what's going on. This is how it's happening. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
Because
Right.
I was definitely missing it.
Yep.
But the people, it's like my aunt, which is my cousin Cheryl's mom. My aunt, she's gonna be 98. The one you came to her house,
Yes.
and um, I used to be down there for my birthday all the time. So her birthday is on the 24th of July. I'm the 26th. And so she would always make sure I had like a little birthday party and celebrate
Mm-hmm.
me. And I just
Yes.
learned so much wisdom over the years. But the one thing that she told me when I started having my children, she said, enjoy your children while they're young.
Yes.
And those words always resonate with me to the point that I always have to share them with her daughter, which is my cousin Cheryl, because when your kids get older and they develop their own life, it's different. Not that you
Yes.
don't share in that life, but it's different than when they're
Right.
children.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing together, it's a given. Now, it's not necessarily a given because they have their own life. you know.
That's right.
So
That's
and she
right.
she so she always taught me that, and I really did. I enjoy them now, but I definitely enjoyed them when they were young. Not thinking like, you have all the time in the world to spend with them. So I appreciate that. My mother's baby sister, she like my older sister is like I wear the high heels from her, but my
Yes.
mother's baby sister, she told me what high heels to buy. You know what I mean? She had what? She had the,
I love it.
BB. Oh my God. You know what? She was an educator, like all my sisters are educators, all my aunts were educators. So it was just like nice. All these strong, black women that I was
Yes.
able to be
Yes.
raised around. Like my aunt who lived in Miami, one of my mother's older sisters, she was a mortician and she owned a funeral parlor there. And when she was to travel, she used to travel with her personal secretary.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Exactly. And
See?
yeah, she would come visit us. And oh my God, she had a place in the Poconos. So we used to go up to the Poconos and visit her there when she would come. It was just like a really, and they were just these strong black females with their own.
Right.
And my aunt, she was like about 7 years older than my mother, 6 years older than my mother, but she went to college and everything.
Yes.
And though she was born probably in maybe 1910 or
Yeah.
something of that
Wow.
nature,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, yeah, probably 1910, because my mother was born in 1922. Yeah, so maybe 1912 or something like that, and she had her own
Wow.
business, very successful business. Yeah, exactly. So it's been going on for a long time. So
And
I
that's
all
what I
those women,
said. The women who
mhm,
influence our lives. That's why I was like, this
mhm.
month I said I was going to celebrate the women in my life because it's great, of
Yep.
course, to know
Mhm.
about history, but we have our own history. And
Yes, we do. Yes, we
you
do.
become empowered when you do know your history. And so when you
Oh,
start to
so
look at
true.
the women in your life and you look at what those women did, and especially in the times in which they did them, that made them phenomenal women. I'm telling
Oh,
you, like,
absolutely.
we don't have
Absolutely.
nothing on them because when you think back to the things that we have to help us, the resources to things that we have had, the education, the level of education, the ability to go continue being educated, women in our lives did not have that before us,
No,
right?
no, no.
And
Mhm.
so imagine that those women took very little and made so much, right? and and
Exactly, which
then
is true.
and
Yeah.
then taught their children to go further, to be more, to be better, without limiting themselves. Do
Mhm,
you know what
mhm.
kind of character it takes to do that? Like,
I know.
to me, that's amazing. That's why I said the women in our lives who have influenced us, when you think back on it, I miss my grandmother so much. I miss both my grandmothers.
Mhm.
And I wish that, this is where you wish that, time travel, or, you wish and said, God, I wish that this time was at this point and this, but understanding that that's not how God intended it to be. But
Let me ask you, you never asked your ancestors to come visit you? You never asked
I
your grandmothers
do.
to come
I
visit?
do. Oh,
Or
I do. I
do they
do. I
or
do.
do
I
they
say
come?
that all the time. I know
Or
that
do
my
they come?
grandmother watches over me, and my grandmother has come and spoken to
Okay.
me and
Yeah,
imparted
yeah, 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 yeah,
information.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying, when I'm saying I miss them, that they were here, like, it's the
Oh, no,
thing
I know
of
what you mean.
wanting
Yeah,
my
yeah,
grandparents to be able to, for me to share my children with my
exactly.
grandparents,
Yeah.
that sort of
Mhm.
thing. Because having grandparents are, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I think, like, I'm 57 years old, but I can still remember my summers with my grandparents like it was yesterday. And I just think those are
Mhm.
the things that in your life, that the women who have imparted knowledge and wisdom and love and kindness and just shared of themselves with us is
Mhm.
who help to shape us into being
Mhm.
who we are and who we are still
Mhm.
becoming, which
Mhm.
also teaches us and allows us to impart into other women, not just our daughters, not just our family, not just our nieces and
Exactly.
our cousins
Mhm.
and our sisters, but to women in general. Because really, women together are really strong.
Oh, we're a
Truly,
force to be reckoned with.
we are
We are a
forced
force
to
to be
be reckoned with.
reckoned with.
We have an unbreakable bond. And as long as
Mhm.
we always remember that, and remember that we are sisters to one another, that we
Mhm.
share, even if we don't share DNA, we still share a link that God, when he created us, he made a woman. And there is
Exactly.
nothing that compares to being a woman. So we
Mhm.
share a bloodline because the Heavenly
Yes,
Father
we do.
created
Yes,
us
we do.
all. So I
Yes, we
just want
do.
you
Yes,
all
we
to, you know,
absolutely.
I just want you all to think about that. We all share a serious bloodline. So
Yep. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is
yes.
for sure. Yeah.
Call your sisters, check on your sisters, especially with all that's going on in the world. Check on your sisters. I'm serious, right?
Yep. That's
um,
important. That's
and
definitely
and
important.
and make sure that somebody's checking on you, right? And
That's
so
right.
no matter what's going on, I know sometimes life is a beast, but when
Mhm.
you're going through stuff, I know you need the moments to process, or to attempt to process. We all do. But when someone keeps calling you, answer the phone, right?
Mhm.
Somebody keeps texting you,
Yeah.
answer
Yeah. You
them,
gotta pick up.
right?
Mhm.
Reach out to
You
them.
know they call you a certain thing. Like they keep
Right,
calling you. It's a reason. You
right.
know, exactly. It's
And
a
if
reason.
you are
No.
calling and you are texting and you are getting no response, go find out what's wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
that's so true.
don't just go, well, I guess she just don't want to be bothered. You just don't know what's
Mhm.
going on in
Yeah.
that sister's life at the moment. And so go find out. If you are not there close enough, find somebody who you know is, and
Mhm.
send that person as your representative to go check on a sister. It's
Yeah.
just, it is just our duty. I just think that when God said we are to love one another, that is, I think that is one of
That's
the,
what it is.
it's the
Mhm.
greatest commission, to love one another. And so even if I don't talk to you every day, when somebody, like you said, this person came to your mind, when someone comes to your mind and it doesn't leave,
Mhm.
and that's just not coming to your mind, that person's in your spirit, there's a reason
That's
for
right.
that, right?
Oh, absolutely. That
There's a
absolutely
reason for
is.
that. God is tapping you, saying, hey, I need you to do something. I need you to go,
Mhm.
call that person, check on that person. Or maybe that person is not here, but there is someone who reminds you of that person that maybe you need to check
Mhm.
on,
Exactly. Which
right?
is true. Which is
Just know that
uh-huh.
whenever people come into your mind and your spirit and your being, there's a task at hand for you to go and do. And I'm going to tell you to start with checking on somebody, making sure they're all right, you know.
And
And
not to mention when you want to you have to also like there's my cousin Cheryl, she had a really, really good friend named Grace.
mm-hmm,
And Grace was like she was like Grace, you know, I
yeah,
mean, just literally she was just she had this energy and spirit about her.
yes,
And um, my mother just like was crazy about her. You know, she liked Grace. You know, whether she liked them, like not, whether she liked my cousin's friends, but she really liked Grace a lot. And when my cousin gave me my bridal shower, of course, like Grace was there, and like all these other people were there that I hadn't seen in a long time. You know,
mm,
and I was like
mm-hmm,
surprised. Oh my God! You know, it was a surprise bridal shower, and Grace was I felt at the time like monopoly was monopolizing my time
mm,
because I was trying to get to speak to these people I hadn't seen in so long, you
mm-hmm,
know. And in
mm-hmm,
my mind, I was thinking like, oh my God, because I see Grace often. Some people I hadn't seen
right,
in years, kind of thing. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And so my bridal shower was in September. I got married in October. Uh, and Grace unexpectedly died in January.
mm, mm,
And I did not see her, I don't think, because she was not
yes,
able to come to the wedding.
right,
And I think about that like, wow, like I never,
right.
like you just never know.
You don't,
You know what I'm saying? I
you
mean,
don't,
I stood there and I was listening to her. We were talking, but I can honestly say I wasn't fully engaged
right.
because that's
Because
how,
you were
and I did at that
distracted
moment.
with
Honestly,
thinking, I
yeah.
need to be
And I felt
talking to
like
other people. Yes,
exactly like Grace, I haven't seen these. Like, I don't even
right.
say that, but
Not
I
knowing
felt it.
that that was
Right.
Grace imparting whatever she needed to impart, her presence in your life.
Exactly.
You see how that works out? Yeah,
Yeah. The
That
same thing happened
that's
with
great.
my girlfriend Maisha. She called me, we were talking, and her husband was like a big brother to my husband at the time. And my husband comes in, he's like, "Who you talking to?" I said, "Maisha, what you talking about?" Well, he be nosy like that. And so she was, you know, how somebody just, you know how, because we could be like that talking. So I
Yeah.
don't want to, like, when you on a roll, I didn't want to interrupt you. And so, but I'm not really listening to her because he's in my face. I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, really? Oh, you know, like that." And then she died. And I'm like, I missed something. Like, I
Mm,
missed something, you know.
right.
And I couldn't, you know, ask her, like, but she was like definitely telling me something that I missed, you know, through that conversation. She died unexpectedly also.
Mm,
So I learned some lessons from that to try, like now I'm like, I can't hear you. I'm like, I want to hear what you're saying.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you
Exactly.
know, and I'm like, you know, so because you don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas now all those conversations felt really unfinished to me, you know,
Hmm.
because, you know, for whatever, you know, you weren't really listening, you know, for whatever reason, you were being, you know, distracted. But you have to like listen because you never know if you're going to see or hear from that person again.
Right. It's funny you would
You
say
know?
that because Benita and I went to school with a young lady named Dawn, right? Dawn and Diane.
Mhm.
Dawn was the oldest, and Dawn and her when we were in elementary school, and so Dawn and Diane were being raised by their father because their mother had passed away, and I believe her
Mm,
mom was an alcoholic, and so her mother died from whatever
mhm,
illness caused by her abuse of alcohol. And so her father was very strict, very stern, and again, raising two daughters by himself. And this is in the late 70s, which was,
mhm,
it was different, right?
mhm, mhm,
But we graduated, we all went to, different junior high schools. And so never saw Dawn again um, after that. But in the time that we were friends, so we used to go to church together. And Dawn
mhm,
had a cousin who lived in Harlem who was much older than us. And we would sneak and sometimes not go to church, but we go visit her cousin in Harlem and hang out with her cousin in Harlem. And then we would,
mhm.
get back home in time, like we went to church. But
Okay.
the point of my story is that last year during COVID, I don't know how it happened because now I don't even remember. It happened so quickly. I found Dawn on, I guess, on Facebook,
Mhm,
and I we exchanged numbers and we talked. And I called Benita because, like I said, we all went to school together. So got on the phone. We were talking, and Dawn shared with us that her husband, she was married to a pastor, her husband had died of a massive heart attack one Sunday after
mhm,
church, right? And that she was in need of, I believe she was waiting for to have a kidney transplant,
mhm,
and that her ex-husband, her first husband, was coming to get her and was going to give her the kidney. So she was going to be
mhm,
moving with the first husband, and she was going to have surgery, and she was going to, and then she was like, and when I'm done, I want you guys to come down. I want to pay for your hotel. I want you all to come stay with me and hang out. And we were like, absolutely. But then I kept calling Dawn, to find out if she had moved, if she had the surgery, da 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 da. Didn't hear back from Dawn. And then Benita saw on, I think it was on Dawn's, her page or her sister's page, that Dawn had passed away.
mhm.
That little thing has bothered me so much because it was like never getting the chance to talk to her again. And, it's like over 30 something years that we didn't
Mhm,
talk. And then
mhm,
this moment is dropped into, where we get the opportunity to communicate and
Mhm.
talk and
Mhm.
laugh and joke and everything, and then she's gone, right?
Wow.
um and so that's why, like I said, it's just important just to to reach out to people. When you find somebody that you've been looking for, reach out to them, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
even if you're not trying to build the relationship again, just check on people. It's just
Mhm.
it just does something for your spirit and to another, and for the person's spirit as well, because you just never know what people are going through, and you also may need that for whatever it is that you're going through, you know so
Which
it's
is
just
true. Which is
important.
true.
Sometimes
Mhm.
the healing comes in moving on those things that don't make sense, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
No,
Sometimes
no, it's so true.
the
Yeah.
time and the moments are the time and the moments at the time and the moment that has been appointed for this thing to occur. And so it's just
Mhm.
real important for us to, pick up the phone, call somebody, and don't text them. If you
Mhm.
have a phone number, call them, hear
Mhm.
their voice,
Mhm.
speak to them.
Exactly. It's
Um,
like I woke up to a text the other morning from a friend of mine's, and when I saw the text, I hadn't heard from her in a while, but she is very good friends with my kid's godmother,
mhm,
and they grew up together. They went to school together, and but I knew her before I knew my kid's godmother.
okay.
But I didn't always know they knew each other. And we weren't always like the best friends, but as we got older, we got like good. We like not hang out in each other's house, but we see each other's all love and everything like that. And when I had my 50th soiree,
Mhm,
she was definitely one of the people that I invited.
mhm,
But I hadn't spoken to her like really in a minute, and I woke up in the morning on Tuesday morning, and she had sent me a text and said, "Call me when you wake up." And I was like, oh my God. And you know me, like I'm not a morning person. And I had I told a friend of mine I would give them a ride because they had to put their car in the shop and they had
mhm,
an appointment while the car was
mhm.
in the shop and they had to get their appointment by 10 and it was up in Union. So I'm like, I couldn't really, I'm like, let me get myself together, get in the car. And then I called her and she was like, "You were on my mind. I just wanted to call you and tell you I was thinking about you, see how
Mm,
you're doing, how the
right.
kids are doing." And it was really, really, really sweet,
Yes.
Um, and I was like, I felt that. And not that, because I just seen her, they had a yacht and they were partying and whatever. Like I see her like that because she's always with, my kid's godmother because now she's moved to Florida and my kid's godmother, she has a place in Florida, so she spends a lot of time in Florida. So I always see them together because
Mhm.
I know my kid's godmother, she loves taking pictures and all this stuff. So I knew that she was well in that sense. But it was really, really nice. I said, "Oh my God," I said, I said, "I appreciate that. I accept that." And it's funny, she has a really, really big story. And I mean, her story, that's another resilient with an R story.
Yes,
And
love it.
I'm gonna actually text her when we get
Yeah,
off
reach
and
out
find
to
out if she wants
her.
to come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
her story is phenomenal. She even wrote a book about her story, but her story is phenomenal. And you talk
Well, we
about
need to have
survival.
her on. This is
Yeah,
what we do
yeah.
here.
I got
We are
some
here
good
to
survivors on.
celebrate one
Yeah.
another and learn from one
Mhm.
another and just,
Yeah, yeah,
heal with one another, evolve,
exactly.
and learn how to have great resiliency. So,
Because my other cousin who lives in Atlanta, she has a really big story. And I know she was supposed to go on Oprah. So I don't know if she did go on Oprah or whatever. So probably if she didn't go on Oprah yet, she probably won't want to come on the podcast yet. But
okay.
I will like definitely talk to her about coming on and
Okay.
sharing her story. And
Love
she
it.
has like the resiliency stories too.
Awesome.
And it's like, wow, yeah.
Well, we want to say thank you all. These
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Well,
Fridays are always such
everybody.
a good day. We look forward to, talking to you guys and seeing you guys and sharing with you all, and you
Yeah.
sharing back with us. And so we thank you all for joining us today. We are going to we're not starting the weekend. We have to finish out the week. Because
Exactly.
we all have other stuff to do.
I'm going to the salon. I gotta go get to the
Right.
salon.
Right. I know you do. I know you do. And I
Oh,
have
guess who's home from Japan? Well, Japan is home too. He got in
oh,
yesterday morning. Yes,
oh,
yes, yes.
so wait. Oh, well, listen, we need to talk because we need to
Oh
make
yeah,
that
yeah,
happen
yeah,
while
yeah,
he's
yeah,
in the same
yeah.
time zone as we are.
Exactly, exactly. I gotta find out how because he did because when I texted him last night, he was on the phone with his wife. So I said, well,
Well,
I'll talk to you. I'll
that
talk to
is
you
your
tomorrow. So I
task.
said,
You must make that
yes,
happen.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
task, right?
Make that happen. I have given you a task list of what, 4 things now? Yeah, that
Yeah,
has
like
moved
yeah,
to
yeah, exactly.
priority.
We're here for.
Yes,
We're here for.
that's
Yes, we
priority.
definitely have for.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right. Well, we want to thank you all again. Have a great weekend. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and looking forward to seeing you all next week. So enjoy the weekend. Oh, don't
Have
forget,
a great
guys, we
weekend.
spring forward this weekend.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right. We're
on
gonna lose some sleep,
Sunday.
but we're gonna gain some light. Lose some
Yes,
sleep and gain some
feel
light.
like, amen, amen. I take the light over the sleep any day.
I know that's right. And guys, just remember to keep your energy levels high, and
Absolutely.
you'll receive all high things.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yes, that's the key. That's the key. When
Yeah.
something on your mind working on you that's bad, and it has already happened, try to think
Yeah.
something good.
That's right.
Shake it off.
I tell you all the time, take
Really.
flight. Take
That's
flight.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Take
Shake
a
it
leap
off
of
and take
faith and
flight.
take flight. We
That's
thank
right.
you
That's
all
so
so
true.
much. Have a great weekend. Have a
Have a
good
great
weekend, honey
weekend.
bunny.
You too, honey bunny.
All right. Love you.
Love you.